Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Building Excellence Podcast. This is a podcast where it's all about helping people build excellence in any area of your life. What's unique about this podcast is this isn't a podcast that's a singular perspective. In fact, this is a podcast that have a number of individuals who have been gifted with experiences in life that they just want to do their best to just share with you things that they've learned that help them build excellence along the way, hoping that it'll bless you one day. Today's a special day. This is a day that I have some amazing guests with me. If you aren't new to the Building Excellence podcast, these faces will look very familiar. Come on, somebody. For those, if this is your first time, let me allow them to introduce themselves. Come on, I'll start with beside me.
Hi, I'm Devin Walker.
Come on, that's my lovey. You say, what is your lovey mean? Well, that's my wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Please introduce yourself.
What's up, everyone? I am Tia Hopkins.
And also known as Tea with Tia.
Come
Yes,
on,
yes.
Tia.
Which is one of the podcasts, a phenomenal podcast that's on the
Mhm.
Building Excellence platform. Tia, it's been such a joy seeing all the different kinds of wisdom that has come through many form and fashion through your Tea with Tia podcast.
Wow.
My goodness. Tell
Thank
me
you.
what's been like one of the biggest learns or experiences that you've had as we launched it this year in 2024.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into that, but I want to say first, I just want to thank you both. I
Mm,
just want to honor you both.
mm,
These are things that we talk about in private, but
Mhm.
publicly, I want to tell you all thank you that I value and I appreciate the DWALKs, as we call them. I honor and respect you all. Thank you all for your yes and your obedience that has paved the way, and you all are serving as forerunners for people such as myself. So I just want to tell you thank you before we even dive in today. Thank you all for even providing this platform for people to be able to move forward in what God has called them to do in building excellence in people and in the kingdom. So thank you.
man,
Mhm.
one
Sure.
thing that we love some T Hop too.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
it. Mhm.
She is an anointed
Yeah.
woman. And if you've seen her podcast, you already know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you haven't seen it, watch it.
What you
Then
doing?
you gonna
What you
know.
doing?
Okay. I heard that.
Go watch it.
So yeah, so thank you all for that. Okay, here we go. So man, this has been a really phenomenal journey. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me has been just as we've been doing these different episodes and really just having conversations and cameras just happen to be in the room. It's just seeing how so much of our life really is Romans 8:28.
Mm,
And we know that all things work together for the good. Because a lot of things that we've discussed, they didn't feel good when they happened.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I would probably say that in the moments of them, I was like, this ain't good. Like why? But now in hindsight, and now that those moments have passed and growth has happened and wisdom has been gleaned and learned and obtained, all the different things, it's like, wow, God, like you really were looking out for me, even in the things that were painful. Like maybe you didn't cause what was painful, but you certainly used it.
it's good.
And that's just for me, it's just so special because my father passed away 7 years ago. And I remember a really distinct moment in my life. I said, well, God, who's going to be my dad now? And he said, I am.
Mm,
And as you need people, men in the earth along the way, I'll provide that. But I'm your father.
mm,
And through that journey, I've said this before, I don't believe that my dad had to die for me to get to know God the way I have as father,
Mhm.
but because he died, it caused me to have, if I had to lean in, or it was a choice,
Mhm.
but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna lean in. But I got to know God as father. So it's like, okay, I didn't just say, oh, Hawaii is beautiful because I saw a postcard at the gas station, but my feet were in the sand.
Mhm.
mm.
So I'm like, no, I know Hawaii is beautiful. I've been there, I've lived it, I've breathed it. And that's probably been one of the biggest takeaways for me, being able to reflect on what I've been able to live and breathe through God's faithfulness. We have evidence. It's what it's boiled down to,
Yeah.
is the evidence. And that's what this has done for me these past 4 months, is reflecting and being reminded of I'm evidence that God is who he says he is.
I love that.
Wow.
Mm,
Well, guys, let me
Mm.
tell you what today's all about.
yeah.
We just thought it would be good for us just to come together and really just close out the last series on the Building Excellence podcast, which is how to be unsuccessful.
Mhm.
and at the same time, just reflect on some of the maybe the top aha moments, the top reflection moments of 2024 that happened through the Building Excellence platform. One thing that I just want to piggyback with Tia, and that's just the fact that this wasn't something that we sought out to do. We didn't start this podcast out of selfish ambition or
Oh, yeah.
selfish motive.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this was a call.
Mm-hmm.
We felt the Lord telling us to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and many of you guys feel the same thing. And so all we did, we just been through enough stuff with God.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown in our faith enough to say, Lord, if you say do it, we're going to do it.
Yes.
And so this is was birthed out of faith, and who knows what God's going to do in our lives
Yeah.
and hopefully in your lives through it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive in, okay?
Okay.
So let me just kick it off. As we're closing out the How to Be Unsuccessful series, we had a number of phenomenal guests that talked about different nuances of how
Yes.
to be unsuccessful as a wife or a husband or as a business owner, as a mom, as a dad, in your finances. I mean, we a plethora of topics,
Yes.
even more than that. This was one piece of feedback that I thought was pretty profound. That came out of the How to Be Unsuccessful series. This was a mom that basically said, um, "I am living my life depleted right now." That was a topic that came up that we don't. If you want to be unsuccessful, live life depleted. Live life where you don't have enough energy to give it to yourself or the relationships that matter.
Yeah.
And she said, "I believe that's what I'm doing right now." She said, "I'm just being tugged and pulled in so many different ways. I'm being tugged and pulled at work, all these different clients. I'm being tugged and pulled with the challenges of being a mother. I'm being tugged and pulled with the challenges of being a wife. And then I have my mom that needs me, my dad that needs me, my siblings that need me.
Ooh.
Aunts and uncles are going through stuff." And she's like, "I just feel the weight of the world and I'm at my wit's end." And she's at a breaking point and just in tears. And how do you navigate that? And one of the biggest things that we talked about was the priority of relationships.
Yeah.
This is something I'm not sure why it isn't talked about much. This is an area that I had to get right in myself, honestly, a lot due to my wife. Um, I am a person that I'm going to use the word ambitious. I don't want to use it in the context of society trying to make as much money and be as famous as possible. It's not that. It is whatever the Lord tells me to do, I want to do it with ridiculous excellence and give it everything that I have.
For sure.
Where I missed the mark before in my life, I thought I could give it more than what I truly had. So let me explain. I had to come to grips with the priority of relationships when my wife asked me this. "So you still working? Do you think you're going to have the marriage that you want, be the dad that you want, if you're still working at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night?" And it wasn't an instant light switch of a change. It was a, how am I going to fix this type of a change?
Yeah.
Because what I knew is I didn't want a divorce.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want my children to say, "Daddy, where were you?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I still didn't want to, not be able to make money for my family.
It's good.
So over a couple of years, I was able to come up with a priority of relationships that worked for me. I don't know if this is the exact priority for you. I actually just want to, bring it up and even have y'all talk about it. So here's the priority that helped me. The first priority that I had to give my time to. So the priority of relationships is, how do I give my time away? I only have 24 hours in a day. Where do I give it? The first priority is to me. Why is that? Because I have to be a healthy me so for me to have a relationship with anybody else.
Yep.
So I have to be healthy spiritually. I got to be healthy mentally. I got to be healthy physically. So whatever I got to do that, that's priority one. And then my next priority, so the second priority is going to be to my wife. So I have to do whatever she needs me to do in order for us to stay married, in order for her to feel like she's number one, in order for us to feel loved and valued. Next, my third priority is to my children. I need them to know that daddy's there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the second most important priority I have, or second most important responsibility I have.
Yeah.
First responsibility is to my wife. Second responsibility is to my children. And then after that, my fourth priority, y'all, this is where many people got this wrong. It's work. Why is work fourth priority?
Yeah.
It's because if I don't make money, we don't eat.
No.
Right.
We don't have a place to stay. I can't take care of my wife, and
Right.
she can't take care of me if we don't have money.
And I like
Right.
to eat.
Oh, she's like, and I like to eat. You see what I'm saying? But like, where's the bacon? So, from a priority standpoint, so if the first priority is me, if the second priority is going to be my wife, if the third priority is my kids, the fourth priority is work. The fifth priority, you know what that is? That's actually the critical relationships that I need to stay healthy.
Yeah, it's good.
So these are the close friendships that I have that I can talk to them about anything. I can talk to them about me. I can talk to them about my marriage. I can talk to them about my kids. I can talk to them about finances. Any problems I'm going through, that they can help me through that. Okay. This could be therapists. This can be pastors, just whatever relationships that you need on an ongoing basis, that you can have that iron sharpening iron relationship, that you're not going through life struggles alone. Because if you go through those things alone, that means it's going to sabotage your marriage. It's going to sabotage your children.
Yeah.
It's going to sabotage your finances.
Yeah.
So that's why that's 5. Then after that, that's when it's my secondary family. Now, secondary family is not meant that they're bad or less than. It's just saying, from a priority standpoint, my primary family is actually my wife and children now. Secondary family is going to be now my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters. Okay. Then after that, it's going to be best friends and other friendships. Okay. Then after that, hobbies, and you can begin to prioritize below number 5 and number 6 how you would want. Man, but those top 5 and 6 for me are locked in, and I just
Yes.
can't compromise those.
Yeah.
So tell me, guys,
Yeah.
like, have you experienced any challenges as it relates to the different relationships, I would say, kind of vying for time that belongs to someone else, or maybe a different priority? How about you, Lovey? Have you ever had any challenges like that?
Yeah, I can remember early on, wanting to please everybody. I was a
Mm.
pleaser. And so, you're telling everybody, yes, yes, I'll be here. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do it. When I got married, and especially when I started having kids, I was drained,
Yeah.
depleted. Okay. I was depleted.
Yeah.
And I don't work well being depleted.
Yeah.
So no started being a wonderful word to use.
Wow.
And it's not, I don't care. It's, I just can't.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
good. That's good, Evan.
I just can't. And so even today, no, oh yeah, I've gotten really good at no. I can say no. Oh no, I'm not. And it's not to hurt feelings.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like you don't
Right.
care.
It is
Right.
boundaries.
Right.
I cannot. One thing I love is sleep. I love sleep.
What happens if you don't get sleep?
Oh,
Now we gonna be depleted.
Remember, she got to keep her husband, right?
Yeah.
yes.
Sleep and food.
Sleep is wonderful. Now, granted, I'm a night owl, and I love to. I can get a lot of things done at night. Everyone is asleep.
It's good.
I can prepare things for the next day. But I have got to have 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and I'm going to find out how to get that. So if it is, I cannot hang out today.
Yeah.
I can't pour into you
Ooh.
That's good.
if I'm depleted.
Yep.
Wow.
I can't. So a good learn it. Learn it. No.
No.
You can say it with a smile.
Yeah, in a few different languages.
In a few different languages. I heard that.
You can use ebonics now.
Yeah.
Not.
Ain't gonna be able to do it.
I ain't gonna be able to do
I
it.
can make it.
That is so good.
That's
So
really good.
you have to learn when to say no.
That's really
Wow.
You have to rest.
yes.
It's a must.
Wow.
That's real good.
Tia,
That's
come
so good.
on.
Oh, yeah, I've dealt with it. I would say for me, it showed up in the fashion of wanting things to be equal for everyone. I think specifically a good area would be like my nieces and nephews. Like, well, I go to this person's game, so now I gotta go to this person's game. Well, then I gotta go to that person's tryout. Well, then it's like you want, because I don't want them to think they're less of it. All of that, which really taps into identity stuff, but we're not there yet.
Woo.
Because you got to even ask yourself, why do you need to or want to say yes to all the things? You
No,
know?
go there. Well,
So,
so
you
I
know,
mean,
and so I had to tap into that. It's like, well, I
so
don't
good.
want them to feel not loved. And it's like, well, why do you think not showing up at a game
Wow.
is them not feeling like we gotta, you start asking questions of yourself of the
So
questions and you get to the root and you're like, oh, I don't want them to feel deprived, but then I'm resting their depravity on me. Ooh. Well, that's pride. That's selfish.
Ooh.
Like if I don't show up, and even though in the moment you may not say it that way or even mean it, again, if you backtrack and ask questions of yourself, that's what it's rooted in. Whether you want to believe it, accept it, or it's fun for you, it's what it is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good. But that's what it was for me. So that's where it would show up. Like I want everything to be equal for all the people, all the things. And I remember learning this really valuable lesson, and you all will resonate with this, but it's the lesson of not everything is going to be balanced, so you have to find your rhythm.
Mm,
Because balance denotes it's equal when it's not that. And so, I can imagine a married couple. If we have children, yes, my husband is my top priority. But tonight, if our baby's throwing up,
Yep.
I'm in the room with that baby. That's unbalanced attention. But it doesn't mean it's bad attention. It doesn't mean one is being neglected and one is being chosen over the. I had to find my rhythm for the night.
Yeah.
So that's what had to happen with me. I had to find my rhythm in my yeses and in my no's. Devin, as you were talking, I was reminded of a hard lesson I had to learn, that saying no to one thing was saying yes to another. Saying yes to something is saying no to another. It could be.
So good.
So if I'm saying no to sleep when I know I need that, well, then I'm saying yes to, probably being a little moody
Yeah.
during the day. If I'm saying yes to all of the events of my family members, or in this case, of this example, nieces and nephews, I'm likely saying no to keeping a tank of gas that I need, which is probably meaning I'm not maybe stewarding my money. But like it literally
Yes.
trickles,
It does.
And so anyway, that's where it was showing up for me. Was thinking everything had to be balanced when what I needed to find was a rhythm. And in that rhythm, being okay to communicate and not think because they're 4, 5, 10, 13, whatever the scale, again, in this example, that I couldn't say, hey, Amy won't be able to be there today, but I'm so excited to FaceTime you after so we could talk about it. That's valuable too.
It is.
Again, it's like we don't have to bind ourselves to it being one way. So that's what it was for me.
That is so
So
good. Like I feel like I've dealt with that very same thing. I had to take a note so I didn't forget it. The what I felt was the expectation, the pressure of expectation
Yeah.
of balance, right? And I felt like it went both ways. So I feel like it cut both ways. So I had to relieve myself of the expectation that I had that you named the relationship, that their love rested on me, their value rested on me, the relationship of if it's being good or bad is hinged on me being here for that or that.
Yeah.
And so me saying yes to that then compromise my marriage.
Yeah.
Me saying yes to that then compromise my children.
Yeah.
And then when I zoomed out, I realized that, man, things really aren't equal. And you even talked about some of the nuances of that. I went through the idea of, man, you know what? There is an expectation right now for me to be at that, but this particular person may be single and have no kids, and they have a completely different expectation of me.
Yes.
Not understanding the weight of being married and having 3 kids that all are in ball games and all got school activities. Their calendar is much more available than mine.
So good.
And I never communicated. And so when you talking about the communication side, like that was a huge, I want to say, area that I've made mistakes in the past.
Yeah. Same.
I just didn't realize that that was the dynamic. But when I zoomed out, I'm like, like I think that there is an unrealistic expectation on me because not intended, but they just don't see what I see. They haven't
Yes.
experienced what I experienced. They don't see what I'm juggling.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, me running a business,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur by itself
Yes.
is not a 40-hour week.
Mm-mm.
Entrepreneurs, I mean, they're typically 60 to 80.
Yeah.
So then you got marriage, and then you got 3 kids, and they all in activity ball games.
Yeah.
Whoo-wee. I mean, you don't have a month. Once you add the math, there ain't much
Yes.
minutes left, and you put sleep in there.
No, exactly.
And then on the
Exactly.
opposite end, I just think it's important for us to have grace
Yes.
for people.
Yeah.
Have grace for the expectation of time in for other people, not knowing the time constraints that they may have.
Yes.
I've had to come to grips with this fact. If you don't have time for me, it doesn't mean that you don't love me.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you don't care for me.
Mhm.
It even doesn't mean that you don't want to spend time with me.
Mhm.
It honestly means that you may just can't.
That's what you said.
You may have to spend a little bit more time on your marriage right now.
Yes.
You may need to be spending a little bit more time on your personal mental health right now.
Yes.
You may need to spend a little bit more time on rest right now.
Mhm.
You may need to spend some time more on your kids because you've experienced this. Sometimes our kids are going through some things
Yeah.
that we got to focus on, and it's taking
Mhm.
more of our time.
Mhm.
Or sometimes you may be having some things going on at work that's
Mhm.
spending more time. Sometimes you may be having to spend some time navigating some other relationship issues
Yes.
that are taking some time.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yes.
things that are more important than me.
Yes.
That's if I don't zoom out and say, man, you know what? We good.
Mhm.
Like, we'll get together whenever the right time is.
Yes.
So I really appreciated what you said because it really help shed light on areas I still need to grow in.
Yeah.
And that's, trying to communicate to relationships that matter, that they do matter.
Yes.
And right now, I'm pressed for time.
Yeah.
What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I'll speak to the relationship part.
Please.
Mhm.
It hasn't always been this way, but get you those relationships that when y'all finally do meet up again, you pick right back up where you left
Wow.
off. That's so important
Yeah.
because that's also releasing pressure.
Yeah, that's good.
The
So
relationships
good.
that, well, it's been 2 months and
Mhm.
we haven't hung out, or you haven't
Mhm.
poured into me, you haven't done this for me. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's so good, Dev.
But those relationships, and I value those.
Yes. Yes.
You pick, me and Tia can go a month. I
Mhm.
kid you not.
Yeah.
Life,
Yeah.
work,
Yes.
think, hustle and bustle.
Yes.
We will pick right back up
Laughing.
where we left off
Yes. Mhm.
and catch up,
Yeah.
and like we didn't skip a beat.
So good.
100%. Yeah. And I agree. And that's so valuable. And I think it shows even when you have those type of relationships or friendships or whatever the ship is, not only the importance that it is to you, but that you are to them. And maybe even the weight or the place that they have you in their life. Because some of that's those expectations aren't fair. Like, I'm not supposed to be all of that to you. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And you're not to me. And so
Wow.
across a conversation
Yeah.
might be the last one. No. I'm being silly.
No.
But it does, it's exposing. It can
Yeah.
be exposing on either end
So good.
of this is really healthy or this isn't, or we're growing. We're growing and we're going, and that's a great place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I agree
good.
with you. That's good. It's very good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that's a phenomenal way to close out the How to Be Unsuccessful series.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway, the biggest topic, the biggest conversation that came out of that was, man, let's not live life depleted.
Right.
And then today we dove into a very, I would say, specific topic that most of us face,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the priority of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important for us to live a life of energy, live a life where our energy is prioritized.
Yes.
And it's prioritized in the priority of relationship.
Yes.
Let's just recap that priority of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The priorities of relationship, number one, should be you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay mentally and spiritually and physically healthy so that you can pour out to anybody else. Your second priority is going to be to your spouse if you're married. Okay. You want to be able to have enough energy so you don't get a divorce.
Yeah.
All right. So you can love on your spouse and serve your spouse and meet the needs of your spouse. The third priority needs to be to your children. You want to be a parent that's present. You don't want to be a parent that's not there. You don't want to live life with regrets, with if it woulda, shoulda, couldas, or one day I'll be there. No, enjoy every moment, enjoy every breath, and be a parent where your children say, man, my mom, my dad was present.
Yeah.
And the fourth priority should be your work because you got to put food on the table. Your family has to eat. You need to have a roof over your head, So you got to be able to provide. And so definitely don't compromise those four because that's your primary family, that's your primary nucleus. Then the fifth priority, this is one I would suggest should be the closest relationships to help you stay mentally healthy. We just shouldn't go through life alone. We shouldn't be dealing through life's problems alone. We all have some people that we are putting time in the relationship to talk through life's circumstance. So you're just not leading through problems in your own perspective. So these are relationships that you can talk about anything with. Iron sharpening iron relationships. This could be friends, this could be spiritual counsel, this could be therapy, just people that you could talk about your marriage issues, your financial issues, your parenting issues, life struggles with, so that you can have help. And then after you have that, six really should be your secondary family. Now, secondary family doesn't mean that they aren't important. It just means your primary family has to come first. Then your secondary family is now your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters, your siblings. And then after that, your best friends. These are people that you love being around with, that you're hanging out with. Then after that, hobbies. So that's just the priority relationship that we're throwing out for consideration. Of course, you prioritize the way that you feel is best. But the important thing is you gotta prioritize so that you can know what to say yes to and what to say no to, because there's going to be some seasons where you don't have enough time to get down to the seventh or eighth priority because priority one, two, or three may be asking more of you in that season.
For sure.
There was a few takeaways that they gave to us today that I got to close us out with. One, these ladies said, release the pressure in your relationships. As we go into 2025, can we all make a commitment to release the pressure in our relationships?
Yeah.
Let the people that you love know that our love doesn't hinge on you spending a certain amount of time with me. Whenever we talk, we gonna still be good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then release the pressure on yourself to feel like you gotta be all and be there for everybody when you can't.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And the second thought was being willing to say no to a client or a job or an opportunity because it's going to compromise a priority.
Yes.
Something as simple as, well, are you available tonight? Well, tonight's my kid's ball game. Well, this is the only time I can meet. Well, are you saying that you don't want me to go to my kid's ball game? Yeah, I need you to serve me. I just want us all to be able to say, well, maybe you may not be the client for me. I gotta be there for you, child. Do y'all receive that? I hope you do. Ladies, thank y'all so much for diving into close out series of how to be unsuccessful. Okay.